Yo, yo,
What's up, Ryan?
what's up, man? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I think I was on a Google Meet somehow, but anyways,
Shit.
I was just waiting. I was like,
I was like, damn, he's taking a second to get on here.
no, we were both doing the same thing, just staring at our screens.
Hey, bro. Well, good thing you hit me up. Where are you at these days? Are you in San Jose?
I'm in San Jose right now. I'm back and forth from San Jose and Oakland. So,
Okay.
yeah, I know last time we talked, like, man, a lot's happened since the last time we spoke. I think I went overseas and then
Yeah.
came back and then went overseas again, I think, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I took a look at the price of Bitcoin the time we met, and it was $43,000.
Dang.
It was December 24th,
Christmas Eve.
2020, 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting because that was pre-halving,
Yep.
and it was also, I want to say, before the Bitcoin ETFs were launched.
hmm
They were,
That's
right?
that's right. Yeah. I think when did they come out? January 2024, right?
I'm not certain exactly, but it seems like that was prior. So it's a really interesting time for us to have had a podcast.
Yeah.
And also it's good for us to revisit now. I'm pleased with, the price of Bitcoin and where we're at now.
Absolutely.
Um, I mean, I think, if we invested in Bitcoin on that date, December 24th, 2023, we would have 3x'd our money right now, right? So that's 300% gain.
Insane.
Um, So
Yeah,
yeah,
honestly, that's a good place to start. I mean, like it's about 118 recently, but just hit a whole bunch of all-time highs. Curious to hear your thoughts. Like, have you been keeping up with it? What do you think like the main driver of it is right now? Um, yeah, what's pushing us up recently?
I'm looking at my phone right now. I'm looking at the all-time high for Bitcoin. Let me see. It says the all-time highs for Bitcoin
123?
is 123.
hmm I think.
Your market cap volume. Okay. Um, yeah, 123. Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because well, obviously the Bitcoin ETFs were a huge success.
Yeah.
Um, I think they broke a number of records for like record inflows. So
hmm
like just comparing that to like the gold ETFs and like
hmm
not just the gold ETFs, but any ETFs. I
Right,
think
right. I think
it,
it's like top 10 for BlackRock, or it might
yeah,
even be like top five already for all the ETFs they have.
yeah. So that's insane. And I think at the end of the day, what people need to realize is there's just a fixed amount of Bitcoin.
hmm
And when you got these massive institutions like buying Bitcoin flat out, spot Bitcoin, putting it into 401ks.
Yeah.
um, like you're talking about the biggest financial institutions in the world, right? Like the
Yes.
BlackRock's like $13 trillion shop. Yeah, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, like all these huge players, they're all getting in because if they're not, they're gonna fall behind.
Yep.
And the thing is, they're offering these products in 401ks and retirement plans. So when people buy these Bitcoin, when people like I even tell like my biggest Bitcoin like adversaries or the people that hate on Bitcoin the most, like a lot of them without even knowing it are buying Bitcoin in their
Yeah,
401k.
indirectly.
Yeah, so like when
hmm
they're getting paid, whatever, like twice a month, once a month, sometimes companies do company matching as well, right? So
hmm
like I heard even for like I forget if it was Fidelity or BlackRock, but like you know how like in certain brokerages they give you a recommendation for like aggressive portfolio,
hmm
conservative
hmm
portfolio, moderate portfolio. For one of those brokerages, like the conservative recommendation was to have a 1% allocation towards Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah.
So you're talking about people that if they're selecting the most conservative plan, they're getting allocation towards Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's not like these people are, cashing out of their 401k like next month or next year or even in
Right.
5 years. A lot of people don't touch their 401ks till they're 65.
Exactly.
Right. So if you think about all the Americans across the country that are getting paid and then companies matching on top of that, they're just chipping away at the supply of Bitcoin every 2 weeks without even knowing it. And right,
Yeah.
these are the type of people that hate Bitcoin the most.
Yes.
So imagine you take that into consideration and then you talk about the people that actually like Bitcoin, the believers that in Bitcoin, right? The Michael Saylors, the Larry Finks, the people that are buying Bitcoin aggressively, right? So at the end of the day, people just got to remember it's like there's only a certain amount of it and the supply is constantly being chipped away. And so you take that into consideration. And then so the Bitcoin ETFs being a huge success, one,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of consideration.
Yeah.
Then you take into consideration, I think the second biggest factor, or maybe even the first biggest factor, is the halving cycle, right?
Mm.
The halving cycle happened April 19th, 2024. Um, that's usually the biggest catalyst for the price of Bitcoin. And, we've been shouting it from the rooftops. People that wanted to listen, they could listen. They enjoyed some of the fruits of their labor, but the ones that didn't, sucks for them. But,
Yeah, man.
um, like, yeah, it went from the Bitcoin protocol producing 900 Bitcoins per day to 450. So now
Mhm.
it's 450 Bitcoins that are being produced per day. It's a huge supply shock. And I think if you look at history, um, usually the price of Bitcoin is not really like the growth is not really reflected until like 12 months after.
Mhm.
I mean, there is growth like 1 month after, 3 months after, 6 months after, but like the significant spikes are usually like 12 months after the halving cycle.
Right.
At this point, how many months has it been? Let's see. So it happened 2024, April. So it's 12, 13, 14. It's been 15 months. It's been 15 months. And yeah, it's a pretty significant price spike since then. I think a lot of people would have expected more, but usually like some of the bigger spikes is between like 15 months and 18 months after the halving. So in 18 months, that puts us at 13, 14, 15,
November?
October,
Mm.
October. So like that Q4 also historically for Bitcoin is like really good, right?
Yeah.
What do they call October?
October.
October. What do they call November?
That I don't know. Movember? I don't know. Moon?
Moonvember,
Moonvember.
Moonvember,
Okay,
and
okay,
like
there you go.
December Bullcember, I think. It's whatever. It's just funny, but
Yeah.
if you look at the timing, it's just like aligning perfect with that
Hmm.
narrative.
Hmm.
It's exciting because I don't think it's like, oh, we got to 123. I don't think we're stopping here, right? I think we stabilized around 100K. We even crashed down to 70s, 80s.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that's Bitcoin. It's going to go up and down. It's never up in a straight line.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, so it's those things, the halving cycle leading up to that, the supply shock, and then also the administration, right? Like United States, strongest economy in the world,
Mm.
they're really taking a stance on like, hey, we want to embrace Bitcoin. We want to be the strongest country for Bitcoin in the world.
Yeah.
And other nations are going to have to follow suit, man. And we're really embracing that. So, the regulations, the clarity revolving, tax law and all that stuff is becoming more and more clear, and it's evident that like the administration is for crypto, whereas the
Hmm.
last administration was very much
Anti.
against it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they halted a lot of the growth, and it was just a lot of like murky waters at the time. So
Yeah.
just a lot of question marks. A lot of investors were kind of skeptical about getting in at the time, but it's a complete like 180 switch at this point. So
Yeah.
just so much good news and so much like room for innovation and like I said, it's a limited supply. So yeah, but I'd love to hear some of your thoughts too, man.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, wait. Before I share mine, just two quick questions on that. First one. Do you think the United States actually has the approximate 200K Bitcoin that they say they have, or that's like reported that they have? That's question one. Two, do you think we'll see an official purchase of Bitcoin from the US government anytime in the next, I don't know, year or two? Because they said we intend to buy Bitcoin, right? And so I feel like that'll be pretty big. Like if and when that actually happens, like that headline alone is like, oh shit, like this is real. So do you think that'll happen anytime soon?
Yes, yes. I think that's interesting. Those are two good questions. I saw something um, someone sent me about the 200,000 Bitcoin that the US was supposedly that they supposedly have had.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I heard that the US Marshals revealed that the government now only holds 28,988
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
I
Did you
saw
see
that
that
too. I
too?
did see that too.
So I'm a little confused. I can't really speak on that like with full confidence because
Hmm.
either way it's bullish, but
Right, exactly. Yeah,
I think it's more
which is
bullish.
funny.
I think it's more bullish if it's the lesser amount.
Correct. Because we
Because
took the sell pressure.
well, yeah, well, because we thought we already had 200,000 and like with Cynthia, like it kind of leads indirectly with your next question. With Cynthia Lummis,
Hmm.
her Bitcoin bill was basically to propose a purchase of 1 million Bitcoins. I think it was like 250,000 Bitcoins per year,
Hmm. Hmm.
in addition to what we already have, right? So, um, if we only have 30,000 Bitcoins, we're behind the curve, right? So then there
Hmm.
has to be more aggressive buying of Bitcoin, which is, like I said, limited
Right.
supply. Like it's only going to drive the price up even more, right?
Yeah.
If we're 170K Bitcoins under what we thought we were, I mean, that's
Right.
huge.
Yeah.
But if it, again, I'm not 100% certain on that, but if we do have the 200K, um, I definitely think the United States government will be purchasing more. But yeah, I think it's a lot easier said than done.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of like
It's
pushback.
part, there's going to be legislation and all
Yeah.
kinds of meetings and stuff.
hmm But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
On which part?
So you had two different questions, right? The
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
question again was what?
Does the government actually have the 200K?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
So that
then
one I'm not sure. And then
yeah, the second one was will
if
we
I believe
see a
they
purchase?
will purchase even more than what they
Yeah.
have. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what they said they were going to do, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Cynthia Lummis was very clear on that. I think it's ambitious, like to if they if the United States purchased up to 1 million Bitcoins, that's 50% of the entire supply of Bitcoin,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, if any country were to do it, it'd be the United States,
Right, exactly.
right? Um, I mean, we're the biggest, strongest economy in the world, and we're openly like advertising our strategy, right? It's not like there's any murky waters on this. Like it's like,
Hmm.
okay, this is what we want to do. This is our plan.
Hmm.
Um, but not everyone's going to be for it, right? So yeah, there's going to be a lot of like pushback and like legislation and like we'll see. But I mean, I like to be more of like an optimistic, positive thinker, and like
Yeah.
I think with the way and the trend things are going, like I think it would be a mistake if they didn't. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I mean maybe they do it without even announcing it too, right? They very well could be doing that.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like be strategic about it, right? You've been accumulating this whole time. Yeah, while everybody else is just sitting on the sideline. But yeah, man, for me, no, it's been great, honestly. To see it, I guess like the first time over 100K was really cool. And then obviously it's like hanging out, and then we went back. And then it's funny, man, it happens every single time. Like you get to a new all-time high, there's a little bit of a pullback, and then like we've probably been in it for a while, like numerous years, but the doubt sometimes it gets to you a little bit. I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes like
Yeah.
obviously people are gonna be flooding it like crazy, like, oh, see, 100K to 80K, here it is, like you better get out now. See, I told you, whatever, right? They're always gonna try to fudge you. Um, but to get back to 100K, be sustainably over there, and then now to be at 120, obviously it feels really good. It's funny, man, like I feel like we should be higher with all the bullish news that we've been getting. I think that it's just too much bullishness, honestly. It's
Mm.
funny because I don't think like I don't this is actually the next thing I was going to ask you about, which is like the retail, like the average person. But I don't think most people are paying attention, bro. And that's what's the really interesting part. Like all this is happening, and 95% of people just continue to go about their lives, have no clue that the whole financial system is like gravitating in this direction. Like here's a big one. You may have heard of it. Like I don't know the details exactly, but like Fannie Mae is the US like housing agency, right? And apparently now they're going to recognize crypto as collateral. So it's just another domino of adoption, recognition as a legitimate asset. One thing you didn't bring up earlier, but I'm sure you've been paying attention to, is just all the more and more treasury companies that are popping up, right? Obviously, we know strategy is the biggest one of them all. Metaplanet, I'm sure you know about Metaplanet out of Japan. They've been going crazy. I'm pretty sure their stock, I don't know what it is exactly, but like 1,000x, something crazy, or like 1,000%, whatever, right? But they've been booming over the past year, just buying Bitcoin. And then you've got a whole bunch of smaller ones now too. Just, I don't know, maybe they've got a few billion or a few 100 million in cash, 10 million here, 20 million here, 50 million here. All that shit adds up, man. Even GameStop, I know, like, I don't know, people either like love or hate GameStop, which is interesting, but they made a purchase. They have like 4,000 Bitcoin. Now, are they going to continue? Who knows? They have like 10 billion in cash. I don't know what they're doing with it, but um yeah, just and here's like another thing too, like a lot of people in the crypto space, like Coinbase, for example, before they would probably like promote crypto in general, right? Like, oh, buy this coin, buy that coin. But I feel like now there's more of a push, like Bitcoin is the one. Like Coinbase has a couple commercials out now, like where they're like specifically highlighting the 21 million part of Bitcoin, or they're calling out the money printing, whatever. So it just seems like as far as like the finance world and the money world, more and more people are starting to pay attention to it. So it's really like it's really hard not to be so bullish. And then again, you've got to factor in like we haven't heard any new states or countries either like say they're going to adopt it or make the purchase, but you got to imagine that they're talking about it at
They
this point,
they have to be.
right?
They have to be.
So all it takes is like one big one, right? Either like maybe here's a question for you, like what I'm thinking is we just need like one big company, one name recognition company to say like we're going to do something with Bitcoin. For example, you can buy McDonald's with Bitcoin, or Target. Yeah, Target is like, oh, we're going to go buy Bitcoin and put it on our treasury, whatever. Um, Something like that, or like a country or a state, Texas. Hey, we're going to go buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin, right? I feel like once you start getting stuff like that, that's when it kind of like you get into the exponential. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think like, it's interesting, like look at a company like Tesla. Like I heard
Mm,
their earnings just came out and they were down.
mm.
But the Bitcoin that they've been holding on to was like their saving grace. And
Right,
like
right. Yeah.
that's what's keeping them, obviously Tesla's a huge company and they're going to be fine and all that stuff. But like, yeah, like it's kind of like a positive feedback loop.
Right,
You hear some of the news from these companies and countries. Uh, it doesn't even need to be huge companies. Like look at El Salvador, right?
right.
Like
Yes.
they're doing
Yep.
amazing
Yep.
compared to their counterparts. And I mean, look at this is like takes the other angle of Bitcoin too. It's like the countries that are battling like hyperinflation, like
Yeah.
they need something like Bitcoin.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think kind of like you, I was expecting Bitcoin to be a little higher than where it's at right now.
Hmm.
But like I said, it's lining up really nicely with Q4.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm bullish for that time period. I feel like we could really make another strong run up. But if we don't, I also think it's kind of just like a blessing in disguise for Bitcoiners, right? You get to accumulate more. If it was up to us, we wouldn't want it to shoot up like too
Right.
quick, right?
Overnight. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it gives us more of an opportunity to dollar cost average and bring our cost basis down a little lower. But yeah, it's funny what you're saying earlier too about like when we finally hit that psychological 100K mark, when it was like, oh, we finally got here, and then we had a little bit of a pullback, and
Hmm.
some of that doubt creeps in.
Hmm.
I always go back to like 2020, 2021, where we would just dream of 100K Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
Even 80K.
yeah, and it's like we're crashing down to 8K.
Yeah, yeah.
We're crashing to
Yeah.
100K. I'm waiting for the day where it's like, man, we are crashing to like 300,000 Bitcoin. We're crashing to
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
million dollar Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I've always seen the volatility of Bitcoin as a feature, not as a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't see Bitcoin as a short-term like get rich quick scheme. I see it as like a positive. I see it as a long-term investment. And when I say
Hmm.
long-term, I mean like 4 years or more.
Right.
Like if you compare that to like another long-term investment vehicle, maybe like the S&P 500, like in order for you to realize that compounding effect, that exponential growth, you have to be investing for like 15, 20 years for that to be significant.
Yep.
With
Exactly.
Bitcoin, I think and this has been historically true, and I think it'll continue to be this way. It's like you can see that growth in like 4 years, 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like investing in S&P, but on steroids, and investing in
Absolutely.
ETFs on steroids, right? The volatility comes along with that. Some people can't stomach it, but it's you have to understand what you're investing in, right?
Right.
And I see the volatility as a good thing,
Hmm.
personally.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe there's something like a psychological explanation for it, but people can't comprehend that the volatility doesn't matter as long as like you hold it long enough, right? Like, yeah, it might be volatile in like a 3 months period, 6 month period, but if you zoom out to like a couple of years, then yeah, it's choppy, but you're still up.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. Like
people can't handle that.
one Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin, right? The dollar amount will go up and down, but over time it's always up,
Hmm.
right? So
That's it.
people don't understand that. It's like, oh man, it's down. Let me sell it before it goes to zero. Like when in doubt, zoom out, man.
That's it.
You
That's
know?
it.
So yeah, I think it's also funny what I hear a lot of, and this ties back to the point you made earlier about people thinking like not many people they're going about their everyday life like
Hmm.
like oh Bitcoin's 100K that's great like but they're scared to hop in. It's like I see a lot of people like making comments like oh man I missed the boat like I
Hmm.
missed it like I should have
Hmm.
got it back then like now it's so high like Bitcoin
Hmm.
the price of Bitcoin is just so high right now.
Hmm.
And it's just like it just goes to show you how little effort people make into like understanding Bitcoin. Like I think
Yes.
like a lot of people still view Bitcoin as like this super risky
Yeah.
like
Internet money.
yeah, gambling thing. Like it's just like they don't understand that, right? I think crypto might give it a bad rep, but I think you talk about Bitcoin, you talk about crypto, it's a completely different category, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're still early. I think we easily 10x from here. I think we match the market cap of gold, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said that in the first podcast we had, and like that's conservative, and
Right.
so over a long enough time horizon, I I see it as a volatile asset. It's also the most performant asset in the world.
Yeah. The
Uh,
numbers don't lie.
yeah, the numbers don't lie. It's the best performing asset in human history, right? I mean, like people at some point are gonna be pissed, right?
Yeah.
If their money managers or like financial institutions are not giving them any exposure to Bitcoin.
Right.
I mean, think about it. They're gonna be able to say like, hey, so why am I not getting even 1% allocation to the most performant asset known to man? Like,
Hmm.
how are you not like
Hmm.
people are gonna get fired for that? Like
Yeah.
at some point, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
like I think what's missing is like kind of that education. I think most people are still ignorant. I think most
Hmm.
people you hear a lot of people, maybe they've gotten rubbed the wrong way by Bitcoiners or crypto people, and they're just like, it's just not for me. I don't get it, so it's not for
Hmm.
me. Like it's just
Hmm.
like that's just such a lazy, like reason why someone wouldn't want to like learn more.
Yeah.
But like I think if the education is is put into place, obviously the price of Bitcoin is an attention grabber.
Hmm.
But as time goes on, like a lot of people say, it's like everyone buys Bitcoin for the price they deserve.
Hmm.
I bought Bitcoin for the very first time around $7,000 per Bitcoin. But there was people that bought Bitcoin when it was hundreds of dollars, right?
Yeah.
$50, $10, even
Yeah.
right? So um I think the education needs to come about, but also the responsibility comes with the individual. Um, but at some point, it's going to get to the point where it's just like too hard to ignore because there's two sides of it. There's the side of Bitcoin like being super successful, like it has been, and it will continue to be, and the price tag will just be so much of an attention grabber that
Hmm.
people are like, okay, all right, let me put an hour into this. Let me watch some YouTube videos.
Right. Yes.
There's that side of it. But then there's also the other side of it where it's like we look at the US dollar and how it's guaranteed to depreciate.
Yeah.
And that's got to be some sort of an attention grabber in another sense as well, because there's got to be some sense of urgency.
Yes.
People that are holding on to cash and just losing money, uh, losing purchasing power, I should say,
Hmm.
as time goes on. And, with the pressure that Donald Trump has been putting on Jerome Powell to essentially lower rates, there's going to be more printing. The US dollar is going to definitely become worth less and less. That's not a maybe, it's a guarantee,
Yeah.
right? So
Basically. Yeah.
eventually people are gonna be like, yo, chicken wings are expensive. Like gas is like, holy shit, it's costing me $150 to fill up my tank.
Yeah.
Eggs, whatever. Like at some point, people are going to be like, okay, like something's got to give, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe that moment's not here yet, but inevitably, like, people have to pay attention. And if they don't, they're going to get crushed.
Gosh. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard for me to understand too, honestly, sometimes. Maybe I'm biased because like you and I, we have put the work in, we've learned about it, we listen to all the podcasts and books, whatever. To me, the way I try to put it to people when they say, "Oh, it's not for me," or "I just don't get it," I'm like, dude, you work so hard for your money. Don't you want to spend a little bit of time figuring out how to take care of that money?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you understand. Okay, the follow-up to that is you understand what inflation is, right? You understand that your money is losing purchasing power over time. Every single year, things are getting harder and harder to buy. Now, yeah, of course. But then what are you going to do about it? Oh,
Yeah.
you're just gonna keep going about your life, not trying to figure it out. That's the part that is really hard for me to comprehend. I'm like, dude, you're gonna work the rest of your life busting your ass for this money, and you see that the cost of things around you is getting more and more expensive. And then there's people that are trying to put up the bat signal, like, hey, go look at this. This might be able to help you out. And immediately they're like, no, I'm good. I don't know. It's just too much. It's too much. I mean, I
Just
get it, right? Because it can be intimidating, but at least ask questions. You know, they
yeah.
could be like, hey, like, okay, what should I do? Who should I listen to? What book should I read?
The sad part about that is too, like, first of all, those people are gonna just get absolutely crushed. But like the people that
Yeah.
actually they're that's like the worst, right? But the people that aren't on that level that at least invest a little bit, that let's say they're conservative investors, they invest in S&P 500 or like
Hmm. Hmm.
whatever ETFs or something. If you get an 8 to 12% return annually, you're not even keeping up with inflation. You're just
Exactly.
treading water. So
Yeah.
it's that's not good enough. It's not good enough. So it's like, yeah, man, like I think a lot of it, unfortunately, if the responsibility falls on the individual,
Yeah.
and a lot of people will have to learn the hard way, unfortunately.
Probably right.
And it's sad, yeah, because like, there's still people that work their asses off and they keep cash in a safe or they keep
Hmm.
cash in you know what I mean? And it's just
Hmm.
imagine the people that are saving money in Argentine pesos.
Yeah. Good
Imagine
God.
like the Argentine peso used to be pegged to the US dollar. So it used to be 1 to 1.
Yeah.
If you went back 10 years ago and let's say you had like a carpenter or or I don't know, a taxi driver from Argentina working his ass off 6 days a week and he was able to save $50,000 in a year in Argentine pesos and he just buried it in his backyard. And you had a guy in the US that had 50,000 US dollars and he buried it in his backyard. And you went in a time machine, you fast forward 10 years from 10 years ago. The Argentine peso from 10 years ago, that 50K would be worth like maybe like $50 today
Right. Yeah.
worth purchasing power. So that's scary, man. That's scary. So like it sucks for the people in the US, right? Because the 50,000 that American guy buried in his backyard, that would also spend probably like, I don't know, 20, 30K today.
Right.
But imagine the guy in Argentina, that $50,000 worth of purchasing power turned into 50.
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
That's your
So
time and energy right there.
yeah, and it's just you're running yourself into the grave, man, and there's just no chance for any type of freedom from it. So, yeah, I think Bitcoin has been a solution to that for the ones that have been involved with it and can be a life raft for people, especially the in countries that are battling hyperinflation. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out and continue to look at the adoption. But I kind of like you, I'm waiting on that on the Google searches to spike. I'm waiting
Yeah.
for the, people like from here, near and far asking like, "Hey, what's this Bitcoin thing?" Because it's coming, and I've had a few people ask me about it, but
Yeah.
not to the degree that we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Not like 2017, let's say.
yeah. Yeah, so I think we have a lot of room to grow. I think it's really exciting. Um, yeah, I mean, let me ask you an interesting question.
Hmm.
What are your price predictions for Q4? So October,
Yeah.
November,
Yeah.
December. So like in December
Uh,
will mark 2 years since our last podcast. So
hmm. Hmm.
let's here's some predictions, man.
Yeah. I'll give you end of the year. I
Okay.
don't know about
So
like the return.
December. So
Sorry?
so December.
Yeah, December.
Okay, let's just say December 24th. That's the
Yeah,
anniversary
yeah.
of our first podcast.
I'm gonna go 200.
Wow. So
Yeah,
that's literally that's 200K. You think it would be 200K
yeah,
in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months?
yeah. Okay, so let's say that's the base case, right? I'll
That's the
say
base case.
that's the base case.
Like that.
And then bear case, I'll go like 175.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Interesting.
know. Maybe so I'm working off of just like a lot of these banks and institutions and hedge funds. I feel like a lot of them are predicting somewhere between like 170 to upwards of like 250. It would take a lot. It would take a lot, but who knows?
For
Uh,
December 2025.
yes, end of this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
But don't
Yeah.
hold me to it. That's just like
Yeah. Yeah. No,
my
that's
aspirations
I,
too.
I love to hear price predictions. Like always, people are always just like, yeah, price predictions, they don't mean much, but like that's what is interesting to me. I think it's always fun to predict um the price of Bitcoin. I always like to kind of I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver,
Yeah, exactly.
but I would say my prediction would be right around that 175 mark for
Mm,
December.
hmm. Yeah,
But
I'll take
I
that, brother.
hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm
Yeah.
wrong. But
Yeah.
like I said, it must be infuriating arguing with me if you're a Bitcoin hater because people will be like, "Well, I think it'll crash to 70K or 60K." And I'll
Mm.
be like, "I hope it does too. I hope you're right. I
Yeah,
don't think you're right, but I hope you're right."
exactly.
Because then I'll just
Shit.
be able to get more at a better price. But
Um,
yeah.
that actually reminds me. I was gonna ask, like, you said not too many people have hit you up. Um, do you still, like in your circle, your friends and family, are you actively talking about it, or you keep it to yourself, or do you wait for people to ask you about it? Like, how do you approach that?
I'm not too like in your face about it, but I'm not afraid to like tell them like if they
Yeah,
ask.
yeah.
I've also influenced a few people close to me to
Hmm.
start investing in actually a handful. I would say probably like 10, 15 people that I've like gotten
Oh,
them
that's a lot.
into.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, and it's been very beneficial for a lot of them. Some of them are just, recently getting in, but like I said, it's uh it's a long-term investment.
Right.
I
Yeah.
I remember back in 2021 when we were all the way at like 60K and we crashed down to like 20. I convinced someone to buy Bitcoin right around 60
Hmm.
and it started going down 20,
Hmm.
30, 40 and he sold it. He's like, "Man, it's not for me."
Yeah.
I'm just like now every time I see him, I'm like, "Hey man, like held on to that." But now he's back in, right? But that's just the classic human intuition right there of
Right,
like
right.
people like, what did Warren Buffett say? You got to be fearful when others are greedy,
Yeah.
greedy when others are fearful.
Yes. You buy when there's blood in the streets.
Exactly. But most people, they're not conditioned to do that. Um,
Yeah. So many memes on this.
yeah. No, you post great content. I love your page.
Thank you, man. It's not me, it's just stuff that I find on Twitter
Yeah,
though.
yeah. No, but you pick a bunch of stuff and you post great content. Like
Thank you,
that's
thank
that's
you.
something I want to ask you too. It's like, do you have like a Twitter presence or like you should think about honestly like you should think about trying to like grow your like I don't know your podcast or your
Mhm.
presence, your online presence because you ask great questions. You're
Mhm.
you're you're well researched, like you have a lot of knowledge and
Thank
like
you.
you do ask great questions and I think there's appetite for it, man. I think a lot of people could benefit from hearing our conversation just from
Oh,
today
absolutely.
or even comparing our conversation from today to our first
Mhm.
podcast, right? And to
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
next podcast. I think it's just historically looking back, it'll be such an interesting thing to look back at. Like each podcast we had is just like a little time capsule, and just like
Absolutely.
topics we were talking about back then. Like back then, we were so excited about the ETS being
Yeah.
approved,
Yeah.
upcoming halving cycle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, okay, we're excited about, like Q4 coming up. We're excited about the new administration. Like, who knows what the future holds? But I think, yeah, like, what are some of your plans for like growing in this respect? Like, I know you have your full-time job, like you're still
Mm-hmm.
teaching and coaching,
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans on like maybe gaining like a wider audience for your podcast stuff or growing your
Yeah.
social media presence?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the compliment. Um, I think memes are a great way to communicate because it's like it's funny, but it's also informative at the same
Yeah.
time. So I try to pick stuff that like I think people would like or that's kind of funny, interesting, whatever. To answer your question, man, I'll say this, funny enough, like the fact that you asked to do this kind of got me in this mindset again. Like I had the podcast going. This will probably be like episode 31, 32, something like that. So it's a decent amount of episodes. I think I just fell off, like got busy with life, work,
Yeah.
whatever, and just kind of like stopped reaching out to people. But there is like a whole bunch of friends, teachers, people in my life that I still want to like sit down with and chat. And so yes, I do want to keep the podcast going. In terms of like building an online audience, like that's not really like top of mind, but I guess it is part of the game.
It might happen as a byproduct,
That's what I'm saying, right? Like you just do it, right? You put in the consistent effort over time, and then like same like Bitcoin, right? Funny enough, like you gradually just climb the ranks, and
Yeah.
I'd be totally okay with that. Like I'm not trying to be like Mr. Beast or anything like that, but I'll say this. Another reason I thought about it recently is like the teaching job is cool. It pays the bills, right? Um, Basketball more so is like a passion thing. Like obviously you don't get paid that much, so I'm doing it because I love it. What I'm trying to think of, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts too, like I'm trying to get that side hustle. Like I'm trying to get that like $400 a month, $500 a month that's like extra. You know what I'm saying? So then I can stack even harder. And then eventually you get to that point where you get financial freedom, and then yeah, maybe you don't have to work anymore. Or like yeah, you can live off of the extra income, and then I don't know, just so many more options open up to you. Like if you can create something that is giving you extra money, and I think this could be one way to do it. Is just like put in consistent effort, record a whole bunch of podcasts, talk to a whole bunch of people and just see how far you can take it, really.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think you're onto something here. I think, well, obviously, getting a side hustle is something that I would highly encourage you to seek out.
Hmm.
Especially now, there's opportunities to get remote work. Um,
Hmm.
Definitely apply to a lot of remote roles, but something I think that, like I said, we don't do this for the recognition or fame or anything like that. But if you can make a buck from this, like,
Why not?
because this, in my opinion, and maybe I'm just tooting my own horn and your own horn, but I think this was a high level conversation. I think this is something
Yeah.
that people could benefit from. Um,
Yes.
and I think you can monetize that. I think, like you can look up all these different YouTubers and streamers and whatever. There's guys that post videos every day,
Yeah.
right? And that might be little too much effort. There's guys that do, you know,
Once a
short,
week.
whatever, once a week, yeah, a weekly recap. And I can send you some videos that I like
Hmm.
that I consistently keep up with. But like the questions that you ask and like the content that you post tells me that you think about Bitcoin and like finance in the right way and
Hmm.
like in a way that is thought provoking and is just like it promotes like good conversation and good thoughts for growth.
Hmm.
So I think definitely explore that. We'll post this on YouTube. This
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I think
Spotify too.
would be interesting, and this might be a little bit of work, but maybe like listen to the first podcast and like kind of like do some comparison and contrast with this podcast and just that I think that would be interesting. I think
Okay.
too. But I'll share it as well. And actually I do some work with like one of my side hustles is actually working for a Bitcoin mining company. And my I guess you could say my boss is kind of like a famous influencer.
Mhm.
So, when the time comes, maybe I could line something up for you guys to have a chat. And he has a large following
Okay.
on Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool guy too.
What's
Um,
his content? What's he about?
he's a big Bitcoiner, obviously, but he also does so he has his leverage mining, which is the mining company that I work for.
Mhm.
And then he has like a leveraged lifestyle where he does like credit card classes and he
Okay. Yeah.
talks about how to accumulate points and like all that stuff. And then he does like a fitness one. Like he's just an interesting type of guy. Um, but cool guy nonetheless. But yeah, man, I think like I said, I think a lot of people could benefit from hearing this conversation because it's not just Bitcoin. We're talking about finance too. We're talking about investing.
Right.
Like it's the sort of shit I wish I knew when I was in high school, right?
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many people say that. Isn't it
Yeah.
crazy that we
Yeah.
didn't get taught any of this?
Well, they don't want you to, they don't, the system doesn't
Yeah.
want you to, the system wouldn't work if that was the case, right? So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, I think the knowledge that someone could gain just from listening to this conversation is immense, right? And that leads to more questions and, you know, more research that people can do. And, I
Mhm.
think it's powerful, man. That's why I wanted to do this podcast. Not only for myself, but like maybe it helps someone else. And, who knows? Maybe these sort of conversations might catch on and like, you never know. Maybe one of our videos goes crazy. Put a little catchy title in the description, and I don't know. And
Derek King's crazy Bitcoin prediction.
maybe that's it. I don't know. But there's opportunities in the future.
Yes.
Sure.
No,
Like
absolutely.
even if it's just like a quick like we can in the future we don't even necessarily need to do podcasts, but maybe we plan out like a 7-minute video where it's like very organized and we we plan out our thoughts and like what we're gonna say and it's very like concise.
Yeah.
We could get special guests on. We could get maybe an NBA player or I don't know. We could
Yeah.
be creative with it, and there's possibilities. But always good to reconnect. We should plan on doing a podcast every so often. I think it's been
Yeah.
a while since our last podcast. It's been like
Yeah.
15, right? So
Yeah.
oh no, it
Maybe
has
like 6 months.
yeah, maybe like we'll check in every 6 months or so that and then kind of just keep some of these things in mind and like think about other ways to collaborate and maybe even monetize this one day.
Absolutely, man. Uh, Real quick, how much time do you have?
I have about like 5, 10 more minutes.
Okay. Do you mind
Yeah.
if I get one more in?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, let's say somebody comes to you and
Okay.
they're like, I'm not too familiar with investing. I definitely don't know much about this crypto space, but I see that it's going crazy. I see Bitcoin going crazy. I want to learn more. I want to get into it. What are you telling that person?
I'll tell them as much as I know. Obviously, I'm not an expert, but like I know a lot more than the average person.
Hmm.
So, I'll tell them I'll make the analogy like Bitcoin is digital gold, right?
Hmm.
I say Bitcoin, with the way the world is moving, we're becoming a much more digital, we're not going the other direction. And I think that, Bitcoin's been the most performant asset known to man, right? So I'd say it's one of the best things to invest in. I'd say it's a really good place to park your money to get great returns over a long period of time. But I would also advise them to look up Michael Saylor podcasts. videos on Michael Saylor, little snippets here and there, because that's how I learned. I I can do my best to like explain Bitcoin and like
Get them
investing
started.
because and I also tell them my story and my journey because I started investing in stocks in like
Hmm.
ETFs, index funds, like individual
Yes.
stocks. And I did okay, and I think that's a great foundation because my ideology and my philosophy on investing is very much similar to like the philosophies that like Warren Buffett preaches, right? Like dollar cost average over a long period of time. Um, don't try to time the market. All these sort of timeless investing principles. I just apply that to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So I think for a young person asking, like it's always important for them to develop that type of a strategy. Obviously, there's going to be those anomalies and outliers that perform well with trading stock options or like timing the market, but that's just not a sustainable way to invest, in my opinion. So I'd always advise like 99% of people to just, develop that investment um, strategy,
Hmm.
long-term investment strategy. And I would always say like, not everyone's going to be like a Bitcoin maximalist like myself, but I would say there's nothing wrong to invest your money in Apple stock or like the S&P 500 or like,
XRP.
yeah, well, I don't know about that. That's still better than holding on to cash, right? But so yeah, I would say develop, start investing in something.
Yes,
But then when it comes down to it, I'm always going to say Bitcoin's the best thing to invest your money in.
absolutely.
And then, a great way to learn is by looking at videos by Michael Saylor,
Hmm.
you know, just all these videos on YouTube is a great resource. But that's kind of how I would guide them.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, sir. Well, I appreciate your time. Once again, I appreciate you reaching out. You got me thinking. I'm definitely going to be thinking about like, yeah, reaching out to more people and trying to keep this thing going. And
You
then
should, bro. You really should. And I think now that we've had these two conversations, this is on the resume, man. You can send this to people and like use it as some, I mean, I don't know, maybe they won't see it as anything significant, but
it's
Bitcoin
something.
Bitcoin's changed my life. It's changed my mom's life. It's changed like some of my close friends' life.
Let's go.
And I believe it can change a lot of people's lives. So, I mean, people can laugh all they want, but at the end of the day, this is there's some knowledge in these podcasts, man. And for the people that pay attention, that might change their lives too.
There it is. It's a great
So,
way to end it, sir. Thank you for your time.
yes, sir. All right,
All
let's
right,
stay.
man.
Hit me up if you're ever in SJ. We'll catch up.
Sounds good, my guy. Catch you later.
All right, man. Keep in touch.
Yeah,
Peace.
peace.